So essentially, the way we used to build content strategies, for those of you who maybe aren't content people specifically, is we had to allow a lot of time for production. So what that meant is we would have, internal team members writing, maybe SMEs, maybe we outsourced to freelance writers. But that back and forth process, briefing them, giving them the ideas, and getting that content back would take a long time. Therefore, we needed to be more proactive with our strategy and our planning. And so often we were planning 3 months, maybe 6 months out for the content that we wanted to produce. And there was just no better way because that production time took so long. And so we would do a quarterly planning session. We would build all the briefs. We would kind of map out what the next 3 months of content would look like. We would then need to spend, that would take us to week 8. Then we would need to spend, 8 to 15 weeks actually getting that produced. So that looked like kicking off with an agency, coming up with the creative concepts, getting the first drafts delivered, giving feedbacks. That usually took about 3 to 5 cycles. Then there was revision and refinement. Then it had to go through internal approvals. And this took us to week 16 and 20. And the marketing director would have to review, legal and compliance would have to review. We would need executive sign off. We need final edits and formatting. And then it would go into publishing not only till maybe week 21 if you were lucky. And so this process took a lot of time. And as you can see, that illustrated a full quarter. And so you were always working kind of one quarter in advance, which worked. It was fine, but it lacked and missed the opportunity for more reactive content creation. And we bucketed two things. We had evergreen, right, which this system would fall under, right? What are the brand messagings that we would talk about? What are the things that we would want to, promote as a company? And then the second component was we would allow some room for reactive. So let's say, once or twice a month, we would have a slot for more reactive marketing. But what's so interesting now about AI is we don't have to follow this really long tail planning system anymore. We can now consolidate this entire system down to a month. And if you're a much smaller team, even, just a couple of weeks. And this is because we can now use AI for the heavy component of production. And so where we would look at, planning still is good to do, spend the most amount of time on strategy and planning. Brief development can be almost instantaneous now if you have the right formats. Creative production, again, can take very, very short amount of time. And then we spend more time in revisions and approvals, but that whole process can be consolidated down to 1 month.